So tonight, we are, for those of you who know the account of the Israelite nation, and even if you don't know every little thing about them wandering the wilderness, you do know that they had to wander for a long time.
40 years.
They had to wander for 40 years. And the reason behind that, the reason why, now that was not, you could say, God's original intent. Okay? That was not God's original intent. God's original intent, what God wanted, his desire, was to be able to lead his children, to be able to lead the Israelite nation directly to the promised land, okay? However, what we are looking at tonight is we are going to see why it is that instead they had to wait 40 years. I mean, the amount of times that we have seen with the Israelites, their lack of trust, their lack of faith in God, and how he's just continually taking care of them, taking care of their needs while they have been in the wilderness, making their way to the promised land, and yet they just can't seem to get it through their heads and learn. And really what it comes down to, that is one of the reasons why they had to wander for 40 years, and I'll explain that a little later as well. So Numbers chapter 13, we're going to start out with just the first 3 verses. Numbers 13, verses 1 through 3. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give until the... Excuse me. Oh, of course, I hate that.
Stinks, oh.
Oh, gosh. Big sneeze. Now, there it goes. Okay, let's start over. Verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. So they have come, the Israelites have come unto within sight of the promised land, of the border of the land of Canaan. Now, with God saying, because you notice that as the Lord spoken to Moses, okay, it's not that Moses came up with this plan on his own, okay? The Lord did say, tell Moses, gather up some men and send them into the land of Canaan. Now, I think that the reason behind this, the reason why that God did not just say, go into Canaan, you don't have to worry, I will take care of you, I think really comes down to the fact of he knew the hearts of the people. Okay? Anyone, you don't have to be God to see, obviously. None of us are God here. If you say that, well, you've got some issues that need to be taken care of. But anyone can see, when you look at the Israelite nation and how they have gone in this time they have been in the wilderness since they escaped Egypt, since God delivered them out of Egypt, how they have just never believed that God would take care of them. That is why I believe that is why God went and said, get some men from every tribe. That's what it means. In verse 2, in the middle of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man. Get somebody from every tribe, okay? Send them out to look. Now, God knew what the ultimate result would be, unfortunately. even though that's not what his desire would have been, he knew what the result was going to be. But he had them send 12 men out to be able to bring back news of it. And I'm sure even with this, even still, God's desire would have been that no matter what, when they came back, they would have said, oh, this land is beautiful. This land is flowing with milk and honey. And you would not believe the things that we are seeing there. You know, we have one little hurdle, but God can get us through. You know, that is what I believe that, God's true desire for them was. But however, we will see that is not the case. Well, we're going to skip down to verse 17, just because for our study, it's not important to know each of the name of each person that came from each tribe. So verse 17. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as the men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south and came unto Hebron, where all these other people, and then it says the children of Anak were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshel, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the brook Eshel, because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. Now you notice, so with this section that we just read here, this scripture, everything seems great. Okay? So first what we see is Moses giving instruction. He doesn't want them. He doesn't want the men that is going out, this spy party, this search party, whatever you want to call them, doesn't want to just send them out willy-nilly. He wants them to have a plan, and that is just being responsible. Okay? But Moses wants to know everything. He says, bring back word of everything. I mean, if you notice, he really spells it out. About when he says everything, he literally means everything. He wants to know about the people. What type of people are they? Are they tent dwellers? Are they those in, later on we will see, like the city of Jericho, they're not tent dwellers, okay? They got a big stone wall. That's what he means by strongholds there. Are they, how is the land? Is it good land? Is there a good amount of wood? Is it, just everything, wants to know about it. So the men head out, they just as they are instructed. It says they went out and searched, and then in verse 22, where those names were that I skipped over there. That is, it's just basically giving directions. If we were to have a map that was accurate to then, at that point, we would have been able to track roughly the exact, the route that they took. And it says that when they came down, to the brook Eshel. Now, when we go to the store, You go to Shaw's, you go to Market Basket, wherever, and you go and you go to say buy grapes. Okay, you go buy grapes, and you may once in a while, I have done it before, where you go and you see a pretty large stem in there. You go grab that stem, and you have like a lot of grapes. I mean, I'm talking, you have like 3 pounds, 4 pounds of grapes. Huge bag of grapes. You go and grab that stem, and you literally pull the whole thing out. You think, wow, look at that bunch or cluster of grapes. That's enormous. Well, if you notice, it does not say when they went down and got grapes, they did not pick a bushel basket of grapes. It was one cluster of grapes that was so large that when they put it on a stick, it had to be carried between 2 men. I have been to vineyards before, very mature vineyards. I have seen, grapes growing, wild grapes as well. And let me tell you, I've seen big clusters of grapes. I have never once, ever seen one cluster of grapes that would have essentially have been probably, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that one cluster may have weighed 100 pounds. Okay? I mean, it was a big, huge cluster of grapes. And they not only brought that back with them, but it says they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. This is showing how fertile the ground was, how easy it would be to thrive there, how easy it would be to live there. I mean, to be able to grow pomegranates, grapes, and figs, all in, we will say, roughly the same area, is showing that the ground is so fertile, they could grow basically anything that they wanted, okay? These men here, they gathered the grapes, they gathered the pomegranates, they gathered the figs. Their reason for bringing them back, now it's twofold. One, first of all, in verse 20, it says, and be of good courage, this is Moses speaking, and bring of the fruit of the land, okay? Now, Moses did not know, okay? They could have easily have said, wow, that's a big cluster of grapes. No, let's just pick some off of it. Grab a couple figs, grab some pomegranates. We're just bringing back to Moses, this will be, that sort of thing. This is good enough. That would be good enough to show that, different things grow there. Okay? There is another reason why they brought it back. And in the way that they did, I believe that these men, the 2 that were carrying the grapes, were not the only ones burdened down. For them not to break the cluster up, to bring one cluster back, I believe it was a thing where they wanted to show exactly how bountiful this place would be. In other words, they would not be bringing back a handful of figs and a couple pomegranates. They most likely had bushel baskets filled with them to show, look at this. This is an immense thing. This is great. This is awesome. This takes it to a level that we have never seen in our lives. What a great blessing God is going to be giving us by bringing us into this land. That is the purpose. That is the main reason why these guys are bringing this fruit back. However, unfortunately, it seems like whenever we get into certain things, especially with the Israelites, you have naysayers as well. Let's pick it up in verse 26. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them and said, we came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey. And this is the fruit of it. You know, it's wonderful. Look at what we brought back. This is, we can't even describe to you. This is a small little snippet of what it is that is in this promised land. I mean, it's just, when the land floweth with milk and honey, now does that mean that there's, you know, this brook is milk and this brook is honey? No, that is more of a figure of speech. Just saying it is just anything you can think of can be grown. It is extremely fertile. And also what comes, I mean, anybody even in this area knows what is one thing that is extremely crucial to pretty much any plant life, especially if you want to have a really successful like a vegetable garden. What is one thing that is very important to it?
Rain.
What's that?
Rain.
Well, yeah, but no, it's something else. Bees. Pollination.
Yeah.
Very, very big, important thing is bees. What is a product from bees? Honey. That is where they're bringing the term. That's one of the reasons why they use that term, milk and honey, is showing that there is a very large presence of bees there. I mean, look at just the pollination that had to be going on to be able to all of this to happen. And so they're just like, this is all great, this is all wonderful. And then picking it up, verse 28, nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. So we can see right from here, it is Caleb was one of those ones, I believe, that was involved, was making sure to bring back that enormous cluster of grapes, bringing back that all the figs and the pomegranates. Why? He had faith, and he had faith in God. He had trust in God. He was at the point where he said he can see that the person that is speaking for them is starting to go negative. What does he say? Caleb steps right in and says, let's not wait. Right now, let's go. Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. He remembers how God has blessed. He remembers that that one battle that they had in the wilderness, where in reality what they had for soldiers should not have overcome the opposing army, and yet, if you remember, as long as Moses' staff as long as his arm held up the staff, they prevailed, and in the end, they won that battle. He has seen this, and Caleb has a faith in God to where that he doesn't even think about it. It doesn't make him afraid of all of these people there, and a lot of these people were considered giants. Okay, they were those that were, now when we think of somebody if we were to think of somebody that's a giant, I mean, I met one family once years ago. I worked at Market Basket years ago in Claremont, and I saw the dad walk in. Had to duck under the doors coming into the store. And the mom came in. She was only slightly shorter than him. The teenage daughter comes in. She just had to duck a little bit. And then and I mentioned to somebody, I'm like, wow. And they said, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? Wait till their son comes in. I'm not sure how tall he is. The top of that door, the doors open automatically when you go into the store. The top of the door was about here on him. He had to bend over like this to duck underneath to walk into the store. When you get back, for those of you who know the store, you get back and towards the back of the store, like where the meat counter and everything is. One thing that never we don't notice because it's so high above our heads is that there is a section, kind of like the way the church is made here, where you have a lower ceiling and a higher ceiling. It comes down. The boy was so tall, for him to be able to stand right in front of the coolers with his parents, he had to duck down like this. Because, I mean, that is what I would consider giants. However, they would have been considered average when it came to, if you remember, we will look at them later, but the Philistine nation was known for giants. Okay? You remember one in particular, Goliath, bigger and stronger than all the rest. Okay, so we are talking, they would have been probably considered short. These people that I saw would have been considered short. And the other difference is, these people I saw, I mean, even the tallest boy probably weighed less than I do. So in other words, a beanpole, okay? These giants would have been just like Goliath, okay, massive, not just in height, but I mean, they would have been big, great in battle, sort of a thing of just like with the whole account of Goliath and the whole Israelite army there, everyone scared of Goliath, would not go up against him. And unfortunately, that is what we start to see here. Now, Caleb, no fear whatsoever. Kind of like little shepherd boy David, okay? No, we've got God on our side. Who cares what they look like? Who cares how big they are? Let's just go and possess the land. Verse 31, but the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, so we were in we were in their sight. Here, these men, all they focused on was those giants. Now, it's definitely possible too. You think about the size of the people, the type of the people, how fertile the land was. It's also possible that there were other dangers in there that were that were maybe larger than average, that they would have never possibly seen of that size before, and it scared them. You notice, though, one thing that I believe, these men did not go and tell this to Moses. They were supposed to report back to Moses, okay? All this stuff should have been talked about and told to Moses, and then Moses, as the God-ordained leader, should have been the one to, I'll say, make the decision whether they go in or not. However, you notice, verse 32, and they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel. I believe that these people, that these men who were against going in, were They were afraid to the point where they knew Moses. They knew Moses' faith. They said, and they thought, if we just go to Moses, Moses is going to make us go in. We don't want to go in. So instead, what do? They go to the people. They create a murmur. They create essentially a division and a rebellion, in the sense of, no, this is not good. If this is truly where God is bringing us, this is no land that we want to live in. This is this is not a good land. We will die. No, we can't do it. And brought all of this up to the people. And chapter 14 in verse 1, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And then you notice a little bit further down, we'll just read all of verse 2. And the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in this wilderness? And wherefore hath the Lord brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain, let us return into Egypt. We are seeing here the main reason of why they were then, I'll use the term doomed, okay, to wander for the next 40 years, okay, in the wilderness. And the reason is because of unbelief.
Yep.
The reason is because of unbelief. Now, okay, why is it that after 40 years, they would just be all of a sudden allowed to enter?
Because those who doubted were no longer alive.
Exactly. 40 years would give enough time for those who did not believe to be gone. And then, in that case, obviously, what would it have been? Kids and young people who didn't have a say. They could have. Who knows? There could have been young people that may have had faith like Moses and said, "Oh, well, God has done this before. Why can't we go in?" But they didn't have a say because they were not of age yet. So. That was the point of the 40 years that followed this. And you might even think, well, Moses and Aaron, they murmured against them. Why didn't they just stand up and say, we're going to do it? Who's going to follow them?
Yeah.
These men have turned the whole Israelite nation against Moses and Aaron, and essentially against God. Okay, so at this point, it doesn't matter what they would have done, okay? And it goes on further into chapter 14 here, where there's a little bit more pleading in this. Verse 5, it starts out with, Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembly of the congregation of children of Israel. And then you see, this is, we first start to see the name Joshua. Joshua, the son of Nun, steps in with Caleb, which Caleb was that one who was originally said, no, we can take them. We have God on our side. We can take these giants. These two stepped up, and they spoke in verse 7 unto all the company of the children of Israel. The land which we passed through to search it, it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Look, this place, this land, people, it is beautiful. You don't truly get how beautiful it is. We can't even paint a picture for you. We have known, all of us here, we have known nothing but bondage in Egypt. Okay? We can't fathom any land different than what we see in Egypt, because then once they came out of Egypt, they were in the wilderness. Okay? They're not. We can't explain it. Your minds can't comprehend how wonderful this land is. Yeah, there's that hurdle, but when they were saying, if the Lord delight in us, he'll bring us into this land and give it to us. What he's saying is, all we have to do is trust in him. He'll delight in us. He'll take care of us. Verse 9, they give, Joshua and Caleb give a warning. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the Lord, for they are bread for us, their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us, fear them not. Now the reason why I'm saying a warning is that first little part, I believe, is a warning that had underlying tones to it. Don't rebel. You have seen what God can do when you upset him, when you defy his authority, when you don't put trust and faith in him. A good example is the quail incident. All of those that died because they were not to gather and eat of it. Excuse me. And, let's see. But we notice in verse 10, even with them stepping up to protect Moses and Aaron, it says in verse 10, but all the congregation bade stone them with stones. What did they think about what they had just said? They all thought, well, we don't like what you're saying. We don't care if you make a living the smallest bit of sense. We just want to stone you. We want to get rid of you. They wanted to kill him.
They call it nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking nonsense.
Yep. And it is at this point when God himself intervenes in this. Because they already had in their head, when it says all the congregation bade stone them with stones, that's not saying that it's like, we might stone them with stones. No, it means we want to stone you. And they were actively going to do it. It's saying they're essentially already looking for the stones to stone them. All of a sudden, from the tabernacle, in the middle of verse 10, and the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will this people provoke me? How long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs which I have showed among them, I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they. And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest up this people in thy might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of the land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people, that thou, Lord, art seen face to face, and that thy cloud standeth over them, and thou goest before them by day in a pillar of a cloud and a pillar of fire by night. Now if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness. And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering, and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt, even until now. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and had followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. The Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil congregation which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, As truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land, concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness. And your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years. And ye shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. Okay, I just read here a lot. I don't think I need to add a whole lot onto it, other than this is when, so Moses goes up to bat for the Israelite nation. You know, it is, you could say, his family, his friends. He goes up to bat, and originally what God was going to do, you could say God's original plan was, I am just going to do whatever I need to, pestilence, whatever. I'm going to make them all die now. You know, get rid of all these unbelievers now. And Moses goes up to bat, and I will use the term, okay, convinces God. Now, when I'm using that term very loosely, okay, we cannot convince God to do anything. We cannot convince God to change his mind. I can tell you, I tried that and it does not work. Okay? If we tend to use the terms stubborn and hard-headedness, you know what? God takes that to another level. Okay? We do not have the ability to convince him of something else. Okay? Why? He knows what's best. Okay? However, God did agree with Moses that he would not, smite them down right then and there. However, he said, I won't do it, but I will never allow these people who have doubted me from day one, okay, 10 times have I proved myself to them, and yet they still won't believe. And
There are going to be consequences.
so there are consequences, yeah. It's been 10 times now, and essentially God's like, fine, I give up. I won't strike them dead here. However, they will never set foot in that promised land. It will be 40 years that you are then to wander. Everyone from 20 years old and up will have died by the time that 40 years hits. And they would be other than two people. There were two people who would not. Joshua and Caleb. Those were the two who would not, because of their unwavering faith in God. We are we are a little over time there. So let's see. I feel like there was one other thing I really want to make sure to point out. Okay, towards the end of the chapter of chapter 14. So Moses has gone before the people and told them, verse 39, and Moses told these sayings unto all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and gat them up into the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and will go up unto the place which the Lord hath promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Wherefore now do ye transgress the commandment of the Lord? But it shall not prosper. Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye be not smitten before your enemies. So here the Israelites found out, oh, wait a second. They all of a sudden have come into not a clear mind, but they've come to this point, like a light bulb went off. Thank you, Rosie. A light bulb went off. It's like, oh, wait, no. We don't want to wander in this wilderness anymore. No, we don't want that. You know what? Okay, we'll go.
Too late.
Exactly. It's too late. Moses even says, okay, that's essentially what Moses said. Too late. Don't go. Why? God will not be with you. If you go and God is not with you, you will die. So essentially, the Israelite nation, 20 years old and up at that point, because of unbelief, were in a lose-lose situation. Okay? If they went into the Canaan land, or into Canaan, into the promised land, they wouldn't have God with them, which means they would die. They would be overcome by the people there.
They would be dead immediately as opposed to 40 years ago.
Right, but that's the thing. It's a lose-lose situation. You either die, quickly, or you're going to die wandering the wilderness for 40 years. I mean, that's what it was for them. All because of unbelief. Exactly, but Rosie, it's the real sad point of it is you look through if you were to do just a study and learn about the Israelite nation. Now I'm not saying we would do any better, but the Israelite nation never learned. They would have highs, but then essentially what came in would be unbelief. Something would come in, essentially could be boiled down to unbelief, and boom, they'd go back down again. And that's the way it was constantly. What we see there in the wilderness, we're in a much more condensed, much shorter time frames between them. Eventually, that's what it was the whole history of the Israelite nation. It was just a constant up and down, and it all boils down to, essentially every time, boils down to unbelief. Okay, let's go ahead and close with prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for your word. And Lord, I thank you for this, what we looked at tonight, Lord, and this account that you made sure was written down for us to be able to learn from. And Lord, also be able to learn about how important it is, Lord, to just believe in you, to put our faith and put our trust in you and in our lives. And Lord, the blessings that can come from that, Lord, we may not even be able to fathom Might not even be able to picture what the blessings are if we just do that. Lord, I thank you so much for your word. And Lord, I thank you so much for these people here tonight. I ask your blessing on them in Jesus' name. Amen.